Hey everyone, with the final coming out in just a few days, I wanted to send out a video announcement to touch base about a couple of things. So first and foremost, I have posted a review sheet sort of listing out all of the material you should be looking over for the final. And just as a reminder, I think everybody at some point knew this, but our final is not cumulative, meaning that the only material that you're going to be asked questions about on the final is material that we have covered since the midterm. So you don't need to worry about reviewing everything we've done all semester. All you need to worry about and focus on is the material that we've covered since the midterm. So that would be everything from everything from modules 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so I'm just going to give a quick overview of the final review that is posted on Blackboard. You can access that there now. All right, so the final is going to be distributed in a few days on May 20th, and it will be due May 22nd at midnight. All right. And then what you have on the review is just a list of sort of specific things that you want to make sure that you have a firm grasp on going into the final. And like I said, you can find this document on Blackboard. Okay, so the main thing I wanted to cover in this video is just making some clarifying points about the structure of the final. So like you saw on the midterm, there's going to be 11, or like it was on the midterm, there will be 11 short answer questions ranging in length from 2 to 5 sentences, maybe even 6, depending. But at minimum 2 sentences. And those are worth 3 points each. And then you have the multiple choice true or false section. Okay. So there's an important note about how you need to submit that work. So as quite a few of you noticed in your submissions for the midterm, in this portion, or in the true or false multiple choice section of the midterm, for some reason, highlighted selections for your answers did not come through. So like you see here, many of you would, if it was a true or false question, you would just highlight either the true or false, and then that would sort of function as your submission for the question. Now, for some reason, I don't understand. Sometimes these highlights came through. In many cases, they didn't. So what ended up happening is there would be, this whole blank section in that portion of the midterm for some students. And what I was able to do, because we had time, is I could email students or make comments on the midterm itself saying, these didn't show through. My guess is that you answered them. So you can just go ahead and email me what your selections were, type thing. Unfortunately, because it's the end of the term and that means we're all in a bit of a time crunch, I cannot get in touch with people to get that missing information that should have been on the exam. So as a result, what I am requiring of everyone in order to get any credit for this portion, these 7 questions, these 7 true or false / multiple choice questions, is you must write out the answer entirely. So if it's a true or false question, at the end, you would write true. If it was a multiple choice question, somewhere at the end of the question, you would write out your selection. So you would not highlight, say it was A, B, and C, right? You would type out A, B, and C for your answer on the final. All right. And then in the final portion, there's going to be one long answer question, and that one is worth 10 points. And as is the case with most of the with the word limit length requirements in the class, anything that is under 250 words is going to receive an automatic 0. So I promise you that in order to give a sufficient answer to this long answer question, it will take at least 250 words. All right. So the final thing that I wanted to discuss is something connected to what we might call recycled answers. So on the midterm, as many of you pointed out, I think there were a couple of questions that very closely resembled, if not were identical to questions from worksheets prior to the midterm. And I got a number of people asking, is it okay if I just copy and paste my answer? In principle, that's fine. However, because this is the final, there's an additional requirement here. So first of all, you're going to see a lot more questions on the final that closely resemble questions that you worked on, questions that you answered on worksheets. So there's going to be more cases where it's like many of you probably would be wanting to say, hey, I've already done this work. I've already answered this question. I would like to just copy and paste it and use that as my answer here. That is fine, provided that your answer to that question received full credit on the worksheet question you submitted. So say you see a duplicate question on the final, you're welcome to copy and paste an answer that you already used on a worksheet, provided that your answer on that worksheet received full credit. So essentially what I'm encouraging everybody to do is be extra careful in copying and pasting their answers and just double checking to see if there were any comments, anything I was saying, perhaps, I mentioned that, something that was missing or something, there was some kind of misunderstanding somewhere. Just be sure to carefully review those comments, because provided that I have submitted a grade for that assignment, provided that I've graded that assignment, if I made a comment on a question saying, oh, this was something that you missed, or this is something that you needed to clear up, if an answer that did not receive full credit because of some issue like that, if that is recycled onto the final, if you copy and paste essentially an incorrect answer from a previous worksheet onto the final, it will receive an automatic 0. As most of you are aware, much of the time I don't completely, I'll mark off partial points, because so much of the time, all of you are, on the right track when something is missing or something's been slightly misunderstood. So I give partial credit. In an instance where I've already given you a comment on an issue that you needed to sort of revisit and think over again, but then that's just work that gets resubmitted regardless, sort of dismissing the comment, that is an instance on this final, since this is the final, you will not receive full credit. You'll receive an automatic 0 for that question. So just be sure to be extra careful if there's any old work you want to use, and copy and paste onto the final. So on that same note, to some extent, I'm doing my very best to have all of the worksheets graded along with comments and things like this. Or rather, all of your submissions for worksheet number 7, the worksheet on climate justice. I'm doing my very best to get those back to you, because I know that that's going to be work that's especially helpful for the final. Unfortunately, I can't promise that I'm going to have all of that work graded and sent back to everyone. So if you're worried about I suggest any of that work that you've submitted, take it over. If there's any specific question where you're saying to yourself, I don't really feel that I got this right, or I feel like maybe I fudged it a little bit, I'm not sure if I was on the right track, go ahead, copy, you can send me an email, copy and paste this question you feel uncertain about. And you can ask for my feedback essentially on specific questions that might be of concern to you. You're more than welcome to email me any questions about that. If you have questions about the exam structure, any of the things that I mentioned when I was going over the final exam review, I strongly suggest you post those questions to the Q&A forum and review the Q&A forum in the event that a question comes up, because that's exactly the sort of place where, if one person's confused, oftentimes a lot of people are confused. So that's a good place for us to sort of like share our knowledge about how to do these assignments, submit these assignments, and get everything done accordingly. So if you have questions about specific answers that you gave, feeling a little uncertain, not confident about that, you're welcome to send me an email. Otherwise, please be sure to use the Q&A forum. So that leads me into the last thing I wanted to talk about just very quickly in this video is this is just a reminder about the help sessions for this week, as well as my office hours. So another place that would be a great place for you to come and talk with me about any answers you feel a little, or rather anything that was covered on any of the worksheets that you feel a little unclear about, a little worried might creep up on the final exam. My office hours and the help sessions are going to be a great place for you to talk through those things with me. For those of you who have attended either of those things in the past, as you're well aware, in conversation with me, talking things out, oftentimes that's a really great way to clear stuff up. So if you're feeling bogged down by anything, just showing up and saying, oh, this idea, like, I don't really get this idea of, say, intersectionality. I can't really figure out, what Crenshaw is talking about there, something like this. If I can speak with people one-on-one, or even if you can be there listening when somebody has that kind of question, oftentimes that can really help clear things up. So if you could make either my office hours or the help session, I strongly encourage you to do so. It'll really, I feel confident that anybody that attends will be in a really good position. It's a really great way to spend a very small amount of time that will help you do a lot better on the final. Like the payoff would be pretty great there. And yeah, just as a reminder, the office hour, the help sessions happen tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. and office hours are on Thursday from 11 to noon. If you really wish that you could make that if you would really like to go to do something like that, but neither of those times work for you, go ahead and send me an email. I'd also be open to arranging an additional hour for people who couldn't make those times. So please let me know if that's something that you would really like to do, but unfortunately you wouldn't be able to attend either of the times tomorrow or Thursday. Okay, well, that about does it for this video announcement. I'd like to thank everyone for a great semester. I know this is an asynchronous class, which can be tough with philosophy because, like I was saying, a lot of times being there in person, talking it out can be really helpful. But despite all of that, a lot of you really showed up, especially in the discussion boards, and in the process, I learned a lot. There were a lot of really great, insightful points made, ideas analyzed, and it was a really great semester. So I'd like to thank everybody, really everybody, for showing up and doing a lot of really good work this semester. This is hands down one of the best business ethics classes I've taught, including ones that I've taught in person. So all of you did a lot of really good work and you should feel good about it. All right, well, thanks everyone. And as always, email me if you have any questions, or you can post those in the Q&A forum. All right, take care.